deck's hot fire, baby. This deck's hot fire. We got dragons in it. We got dragons. On the dragons. This is round 2, by the way. Round 2 of old school Jeskai Geist, if you watched yesterday. And a couple of quick things. I was pretty happy with Shinka, the Blood-Soaked Keep. You could argue that the mana is a tiny bit worse without it because I didn't want to impact any of the colored sources. The mana's good in the deck, and I wanted to more or less leave it that way. But I just swapped this out for basic mountain. So as far as the likelihood that, say, we're going to have a mountain and a plains in play and maybe an Iganjo castle and be a little short on blue are the exact same, more or less, that they were previously. Now, against a burn, it might be nice to be able to fetch that basic mountain, and we can't do that. But there are times against that matchup where it doesn't even matter. I mean, sometimes you're just able to Flooded Strand into a Steam Vents and play. I guess this one has the Sulfur Falls. You're able to get like a Hallowed Fountain and then play Sulfur Falls, and it's not that big of a deal. This is my wife, one moment. All right, so everything's good. My wife and I, we had our baby, and not all the time, but sometimes, she was just here. She's out to do some stuff, and so she just called me, and I was like, I get worried sometimes. I'm like, is everything okay? That's how I answer the phone. I'm like, is everything okay? Because that's the first thing I want to know, and to make sure something terrible didn't happen. Anyway, so Shinka, the Blood-Soaked Keep. I think I'm going to keep running it my Geist builds for now until I can think of a reason why I shouldn't. The reason we're running 2 Sulfur Falls instead of a split is just because we have these dragons. And on those dragons, the thing is, I think, and this has been mentioned recently on Facebook, because I posted, I was like, oh, I'm going to play this old version. Well, I didn't post that I'm going to play. I played for fun, and I went 4-1 in a competitive league with a very similar list to this. And I was just saying how much fun it was to kill people with dragons and just sort of play the most aggressive version of Jeskai Geist, which you could even get even more aggressive by cutting these spell snares for another click and another electrolyze. But I always felt like 10 3-drops was maybe pushing it a little. Anyway, so the argument's been going back and forth. What's better, Thundermaw Hellkite or Stormbreath Dragon? And meta considerations aside, Thundermaw is just flat out the better card. You get more power for toughness. Let's pull up Stormbreath. I'm sure everybody's familiar with the guy. Actually, can I just take Dragon and we can look them both up here? Cool. Let me do this just so you can see them both. All right, so Stormbreath and Thundermaw. The thing is, protection from white. Protection is really powerful. And that's not to be. It is not something to not consider. You should consider that. But if we're just looking at the cards, one of the main reasons to consider it is one of the few ways to kill Stormbreath is with Path to Exile. Of course, he can be terminated, but he can't be Abrupt Decayed. He can't be Path to Exiled. He can't be Fatal Pushed. He can't be Bolted. So he does dodge a lot of the removal in the format, and that's very good when you consider that you're investing 5 mana. Now, one of the big reasons to run one of these dragons is a curve topper, a finisher. And I have a couple of, for those of you that might not have looked, hold on one second. Not necessarily looked, but for those of you that might not have seen, I had these 2 screenshots that I posted of Thundermaw doing his job, and he's actually been really nice to have, because I'm actually playing a friendly league with Thundermaw as well. It's similar, it's just more for fun because I've been enjoying playing the deck, and he's been good there too. But you can really kind of see this is where he shines. Normally the opponent would be able to live here, but because you have access to this 5/5 hasty flyer, especially if you have a Geist on the table here as well. Oddly enough, 2 players, I played against Red Green Ponza 3 times in the same league or something like that. But actually I didn't have a Geist on the board here. But you're just able to sometimes just suddenly kill out of nowhere in giant chunks of damage. And as you can see here, against Red Green Green Ponza, Stormbreath Dragon is not. He's not better. Thundermaw's better because he's just better on rate. You get 5 power, 5 toughness for 5 mana with upside. Stormbreath Dragon is 4 power, 4 mana for 4 power, 4 toughness for 5 mana with upside. So Thundermaw just on rate is the better card. And here, Stormbreath would not have gotten the job done. At least not in this turn. And here Stormbreath would have been fine because the Geist token. But 1 point more life and Geist and Stormbreath would not have killed in one hit. So why do I like Thundermaw more? In general, I want to run Thundermaw. You have other flyers in the deck. You have Clicks, you have Restoration Angels, you have the token from Geist of St. Traff. And the thing is, not only are you getting more power and toughness, you're getting an immediate board impact. So if there's other flyers, if there's Birds of Paradise, how many times have you realized against like a green-white deck that the one Bird of Paradise they have in play is going to screw up the combat math because it can chump block, you don't have a removal spell, or maybe you need to just it not be there and burn their face so that you can kill them and not die on the crackback. That's where Thundermaw really comes into play, because even if it's a big flyer, the fact of the matter is you are a deck that is playing to the board some, and he makes sure that your Geist token and your Restoration Angel can get through even if he dies. And against decks like Abzan, while they have a way to kill Stormbreath Dragon, Thundermaw Hellkite, it is a very real possibility against that deck, because we're bad against Lingering Souls. It's better now. We went to Static Caster and stuff like that. But there are very real situations in which Lingering Souls tokens could just outrace a Stormbreath Dragon. And then you might say, oh, well, but he can block all the Lingering Souls tokens. It's like, then why are you playing a 5-mana 4/4 Hasty Dragon if you're just going to block with it? And the thing is, against a deck like Abzan, it is very much an attrition matchup. They're going to answer your threats, you're going to answer their threats. And the nice thing about Thundermaw is, even if you're behind on board, let's say they've been able to flashback, play and flashback and play and flashback Lingering Souls. You're not only are you committing to the board with something that kills them very quickly, you're going to kill every single Lingering Souls token that they have. Now, one thing to consider about Abzan, and this is something that wasn't relevant previously, is they do now have the ability to get a Gideon emblem into play, which obviously then poor Thundermaw wouldn't be able to kill everything. For that matter, neither would Izzet Staticaster. And I think it's very reasonable to bring in a couple negates in that matchup simply to make sure that you can deal with Gideon, because they're playing other Planeswalkers now besides just Liliana, and the fact that Gideon can come in and then just immediately minus and have an ongoing effect that you can't get rid of is really good. All that being said, I think it's not debatable. Thundermaw is the stronger card, but there are situations where you might want Thundermaw to be Stormbreath Dragon. There could be even situations where even against Abzan you might want Stormbreath Dragon. Maybe you're able to race. Maybe they're not in this. Maybe you're not playing from behind too much. Maybe there's just a couple of Lingering Souls tokens. Maybe you've remanded the back half. I don't know what the situation is, and maybe in that scenario you'd really like to be able to play a Stormbreath. And so I think, for all that being said, I think what I might try if I continue messing around with this deck is I might try 1-1 split here, because the nice thing is against a deck like Abzan, you probably just want both dragons. Like, if you had 2 Thundermaws like I did, where this was a Thundermaw, the reason is because there's some matchups where I just want to bring in 2 Thundermaw Hellkites. And it's nice to be able to, against a deck like Abzan or even Jund, kind of bring in your grindy cards like your Ancestral Visions, another Cryptic Command, your Engineered Explosives to deal with their 2-minute threats. But then you can also bring in these super awesome top-end threats that are just going to get them dead quickly. And against Jund, I'd be happy to have both dragons. Against Jund, I'd be happier to have a 2 Thundermaws. But against Abzan, I might be just as happy to have the split rather than just the 2 Thundermaws. So that might be what I try For those of you who have been kind of weighing in or keeping up or curious about that. Okay, so that's enough rambling for me today. Every time I'm like, oh, I'm just going to talk for like 2 to 3 minutes before the video about something, I look and I'm like, man, this file, it doesn't tell me how long, but it tells me it's 770, 72, 73 megabytes. And I'm like, that's a lot of data. I must have been talking for like 10 minutes. People just want to watch me play Magic, not just sit and babble about Magic. Anyway, all right, guys, I will see you in just a moment for round 2. And just for the record, while we're waiting, this is the version we're running here. No Serum Visions. I already talked about it. This deck just wants to try and be aggressive, bolt on turn 1, snap on 2 if possible, remand into other lands and other threats, and more burn and cantrip, and just not looking for card selection, just trying to get its velocity from cards like Electrolyze, Cryptic, and Remand, and just get them dead as quickly as possible. All right, so I'm not going to make you guys wait for this. I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so we have an opponent here. So I would prefer this on the play. It's a little heavy on lands, and Remand would be, I think, better if we were on the play. However, it has Geist. It does have some spell interaction or just counter interaction. It has a removal spell, so I don't think that we can say no to just kind of maybe it's not 100% optimal, but it kind of has everything we're looking for. Opponent mulled to 5. We're definitely going to lead with the opponent mulled to 5 and then didn't play a land. That had to be an accident, I guess. That was really weird. Are they just hoping... Is this like a weird Gristlebrand deck and they're just trying to go to discard? I have no idea. Aha! Flawless victory! I guess I have no idea what our opponent's on. I'm not going to sideboard. I don't see a reason to. He could be anything. We're just going to stay in our standard configuration. I guess he gets to see that we are Jeskai. Kind of makes me almost want to like... What? Maybe it's Affinity. Like, I'm almost tempted to... What deck in Modern would think that they can get away with just... If I can just draw one land, this hand's going to be great. You would think something aggressive. This hand is similar to the last one. I'm going to keep it for the exact same reasons. It's not optimal, but it has the pieces of our deck. Okay, so yeah, burn isn't something else I was going to say. Oh, it looks like it's Dredge. I'm going to go ahead and... So our opponent's going to probably just Dredge off their draw step, but I want to have Spell Snare up for Cathartic Reunion. Narcomoeba. Okay, so they got a Narcomoeba, but I don't see a... They got a couple of Life from the Lumps. I do not see a... words that I'm trying to use. The 3 mana... I mean, the 3/3 comes into play tapped guy. Whatever he's called. Okay, so we're just going to conflagrate to put a bunch of stuff in the graveyard. Not even a bunch of stuff, just... oh, that's right. So it's the... It is when it's flashed back that the discard effect matters. All right, so we're not going to try to... We don't want to play a long game against this deck if we can help it. Going to probably be sending as much of this burn to the face as possible. We have our 2 surgical extractions. We're not like super configured for Dredge, and I don't think it's right to be right now. A lot of people have been walking away from the decks, but I found the surgicals to just be useful in general. shock. Yay, do a little damage, please. They already have a Dredger in their hand. I'm tempted to remand this. I think I'm going to, because the remand's not going to do a whole lot in the matchup. It allows us to cantrip a little bit more through our deck. If we draw a common to play untapped land, then we can actually just like play this Flooded Strand and hold up a Snare and Helix on the same turn. So I think I'd rather remand here than Spell Snare. Okay, so the other remand's kind of interesting. Electrolyze. Alright, so let's just go ahead and play this Colonnade. Alright, so this is 4, 5, 6, which puts us to 10. If we Helix our opponent, then we go back up to 13. And they go down to 12. The Electrolyte puts them to 12. I'm going to just take the attack here. I really want to Helix this turn. Our opponent's probably going to Loam. Actually, you know what? This means if I remand this, they have no Dredgers at all in their graveyard. I think the remand's just going to be a little bit better. I know that's kind of going back on what I said, but that has to be good. So that would actually kill all the Narcomoebas and punch them to 5. So let's see. So that what we could do to try to race here is I was just trying to think, like, because I want to play this Colonnade, so, and I also want to try to Electrolyze. I don't think we can just go, see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think we can take an attack for, well, let's see. Just to try to keep our opponents off the lands. What I'd love to do, what I'd really like to do, is Spell Snare their life from the Loam, because they're obviously not hitting land drops. That gives them a Dredge, but do that, and then let's see. If we were to counter their life from the Loam, and then, like, let's say we played this land, which I don't want to do because I really want to play the dragon. But if we did that and we killed these guys, let's say our opponent doesn't have another land, so now they have to dredge it back into their hand. We are going to go at least to then 7. We're going to untap, play the dragon. Our opponent's going to play the land. They're going to play these guys with haste. That's going to punch us to that'll attack us to 3, and then they have this Conflagrate in hand. So they can't Conflagrate and Loam on the same turn. I think I don't know that I'm going to draw another land. I feel like I'm a little behind. Because I just remanded every turn instead of do everything else. I think I have to play this Colonnade because I want to play that dragon. And here, I guess I can still just... Let's see. So now we have a choice. All right, so if we do nothing, we go to, let's see, 4, 5, 6. We go to 1, 2, 3. That's 3 damage. If we don't do anything, then our opponent's probably just going to flash back here. This puts us too low. Our opponent can just kill us with a... let's see, what are other options? If we path 1, that might be kind of interesting. When we go to 3, 4, 5, we go to 5. Our opponent discards for the Conflagrate and kills us. If we Helix 1 and path the other, that might be... Then our opponent can't kill us with the Conflagrate, but they'll be able to just play their Loam and get the Bloodghast back right away. And then we play the Dragon, and let's see, we'll basically be at 10 because we're going to gain 3 and take 3. They won't be able to get 1. They'll only be able to get 1 back, so they Loam. They get a land back. They play it. One of the Bloodghast comes back. We're at 10. An attack puts us to 8, and then they can Conflagrate the next turn for... would be at 8. They can pay 2. But when they Loam, they're going to get a bunch of cards back. So they're going to get 3 cards. If we just... Yeah, see, I feel like if we just take all this damage and then heal, if we're just going to die. I still don't know if this is the right decision. I'm just sort of making a quick one, but... the other option is if we just do the Electrolyze, we go to 7. They Loam. They're just going to flash this back and deal 7. And we're going to have to take damage to do this anyway. So Electrolyze means we go to 7, which means they would just be able to kill us. I actually think we need to do this, unfortunately. This is bad sequencing, by the way. I should have pathed first, because now I just gave them back their Bloodghast. If I had pat, I mean, they're still going to get it back, but now I just made it easier for them to do that. Okay, so we're at 10, like we said. So our opponent's either going to loam or flash this back. Okay, so they're loaming. Probably discard the... It doesn't really matter that we gave them the Bloodghast. They would have got it back anyway by playing that land. So I'm assuming they're going to discard the other loam. Can't get the basic mountain. Even if we could, then our opponent's just can, so annoying, kill us with Conflagrate. We go to 7 right now. So if we did that, if we went to 7, killed their Narcomoebas, put them to 10, they attack us with their Bloodghast down to 5 and Conflagrate to kill us. There's just no way out of this game that I can foresee for us. Alright, so I want the Staticasters. These might be a bit slow, but it's interesting how they interact with all of his little flyers. I I definitely went to surgical extractions. Spell Pierce, I'm not. They don't always have. I'm not huge on it, but we're going to be on the play, and it would be nice to counter. The thing is, we have to draw it, but if we did, it would be nice to counter whatever the first thing is that they draw. Clicks don't seem fantastic. The Electrolyzes, they're just really buying us time. I don't really think. I think we'd rather just have. I think I want to. If we're going to win this game, it's that we can attack. It's a race, and so I like the. I think I want to cut this Spell Pierce. I already have this. That was, wow, I've never done that before. I feel like I have to rebuild my whole deck. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is cut one. Just have a Pierce and a Snare. If I draw the Pierce, it could potentially hit like a Faithless Looting. The Cryptics, we want to get a Geist in play and then potentially use like Cryptic Command to tap and race. I don't really like the negates all that much. I'm not even really too big on the remands. I want to keep the burn, like I said, for the purpose of racing. The Electrolyze could potentially help. It could stunt their attack. It might be better than the remands, actually. It probably is, because I think against... The problem is that the clicks are just going to too easily die to a Narcomy, but I think that this seems okay-ish. Yeah, we'll give this a shot. I wonder, do I want to trim a path for a Spell Snare for a Cathartic Reunion? It also sort of hits loam, but then it just goes in their graveyard, but it could slow them down. Yeah, maybe. Because I don't think Path's doing a ton for us. It's just nice people would hit their first Cathartic Reunion because it can just be so explosive for them. All right, let's see what we draw. Too slow, I think. That's Mulligan. Not fantastic, but this could buy us potentially a ton of time. I want the burn, but I need an earlier threat more, so I'm going to go ahead and bottom. Like, I really would like to get a Geist of St. Traft, if possible. Probably going to be a Faithless Looting. Yeah. Well, we'll play that and get that out of the way. Actually, maybe we should have just started beating down with Snapcaster Mage. That was probably right. That was probably a small mistake. These both need to get red sources for what that's worth. Maybe they're not even running. This is more like all these Life from the Loams. I feel like this is just a grindier version. I wonder if they're even running not Insolent Neonate. What was that thing called? Prized Amalgam. I wonder if maybe they're not even running Prized Amalgam. Makes me wonder, against this deck, I wonder if you just want to take away their Loams. Like if you had a Surgical Extraction. Okay, there's the Prized Amalgam. Unfortunately, there's not much we're going to be able to do about that. Alright, so I'm going to flash in the Snapcaster Mage. It's not doing anything else. going to fetch a red source. Could just play this Colonnade. What I'm wondering here is... What I'm wondering is do I don't think it really matters about the Staticaster, actually. And the reason I'm not going to attack with Staticaster. The reason is, if I flash in it as a Staticaster, kill their Narcomoeba, and attack, they're just going to block and sack with Neonate. And that's not really doing anything for us. Next turn we know that we're going to start dragoning them, but I think it would be a little bit better to kind of let this whole thing be a bit of a surprise. And like if they get a bunch of... we know the Narcomoebas are going to die to the Hellkites, but what I'm trying to say is if he then was to, say, get a bunch of the other little black dudes, the little vampires, we could Staticaster them. But if our opponent doesn't really do much, then I think we just want to kill these Narcomoebas now. Not Stickweed Imp. I can't think of what it was called at the moment. Okay, so we're definitely going to go to... We're going to go to 13. And just attack for 7. That's kind of cool, but we're just going to attack. So let's see, the next turn will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So let's see what our opponent dredges. Colonnade plus our team is game. If our opponent plays a land now, then we get to kill the Bloodghasts now, or this one Bloodghast. We can't block anyway, so that's sort of irrelevant. Opponent could be going to Conflagrate to kill our Staticaster. Oh, he's actually going to be able to kill... He's just going to kill everything. That's pretty good, I guess. Here's another Conflagrate as well. So if we attack our opponent to 8, yeah, I actually think that we could, I think it's fine to just attack with Snapcaster Mage. Because our opponent's going to dredge something. So our opponent has no cards in hand. no way to dredge cards, and we can basically go, if they try to conflagrate our Snapcaster Mage, they go red, red. So, is there another Bloodghast in the yard? Not that I think it would matter. We can just path this. He can't block, right? So, what I was going to say, if our opponent like wants to kill our Snapcaster Mage, we can bounce in a response, which we're going to do. We're going to do now anyway. Bounce the Snapcaster Mage, get back our Path to Exile. Path Prize Amalgam, and then attack with the team. Yeah. Wait a second. Great Knight wins the match. Have I just not had enough coffee? Because I was thinking that we had game 1, which I lost. Then we had game 2, which was just now, that I won. Hold on, let me. What happened here? I remember. Because our opponent did that thing in the beginning when they just conceded. They tried to operate on no lands and conceded, and we were kind of confused and trying to figure out what could have been Affinity or something like Dredge or Burn or something that could operate with very few lands. So then the fact that we won, so there's our loss, and the fact that we won game 2, much to their dismay, it's kind of cool because Thundermaw, they were like, oh my god, I have to kill Thundermaw. Good old Thundermaw Hellkite. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed round 2. We are 2-0 with old school Geist of St. Traft. No Serum Visions, not as many counters, just really a bunch of Remands. I don't know how good Remand is right now, but I'm convinced that it is better than it was when it was all Infect, all like Death Shadow or Jeskai Aggro, like all these in Zoo, all these, and the format has slowed some, and I think Remand's stock has gone up. I don't know that I want to run 4, but I'm definitely enjoying running 4 right now. It's funny, between all of the years that I've been playing, like Jeskai Geist, Jeskai Flash, I still don't know exactly what the best is all the time. I feel like I really struggle with that. I guess I could, sit down and come to a best theory, but that's actually pretty difficult. I could sit down and weigh everything out and say, well, this deck and what decks do you want to beat, and I could figure out a way to just come up with what I think is the best versus a certain number of decks. But for now, the decks I've been having the most fun with have actually been this one, and like I said, I did have a lot of fun with the Flash version at the GPT because I went 4-1 and I didn't drop any games till I lost to Boggles. I just like all the decks actually, because I also like the Geist, the more slightly more controlling version of Geist of St. Traft deck. I don't know what these are going to be. I've been running 3 counters here, 2 Logic Knots and a Negate, but like I said, Remand might be getting better. Anyway guys, that's it. I will see you guys soon. Tomorrow actually. Bye.